Hey, what's going on? So, I don't normally do live streams, if you've noticed my videos. I tend to be pretty prepared and have the stuff I want to talk about already prepared in front of me before I start talking. But I figured, you know what, this is just kind of a laid-back day, at least for me, maybe not for everybody else. But I wanted to just have a discussion and talk about a couple issues that came up today, and also I'll take some questions if there are any good questions, but we'll see how this goes. So I want to talk about Al Franken, and then the Joycott #Joycott. So Al Franken. Now, when these sexual misconduct allegations first came out against him, or when the first one came out against him from Leanne Tweeden, I had said at the time, if this becomes a pattern, if more than one comes out, then he should resign. Now, I've never been a fan of Al Franken, so I had no reason to kind of quasi-defend him at the time. But the reason why I thought this required more people to come out is because if the first one was really just a dumb mistake and he never did it again, then whatever. It's, I think, an apology, admitting it, apologizing, and Leanne Tweeden even saying that he wouldn't need to resign over this one act, then I thought it'd be fine. But I said, if it became a pattern, then he should resign. And then, so it was like a week later, and then two more women came out and said that he had groped them while taking a picture with them. And that's the point when I said, all right, it's time for Al Franken to get out. Now, it seems like a month later, finally Democrats have come around and said, yes, Al Franken, you should resign. Now, what I find just really weird about this is all these Democrats came out at once, one after the other. The first one was Senator Gillibrand, who I've done a video on before because it seems like she's trying to angle for a 2020 run. Now, I don't think it's any coincidence that she was the first one to come out. I'm not sure how these discussions happen behind the scenes, but within 1 hour, I think it was 5 different female senators came out and said Al Franken should resign. And there was Gillibrand, who else was there? McCaskill, Patty Murray, Kamala Harris, Tammy Baldwin, and some others. And they all came out within the same time. Gillibrand put out this statement: I've spent a lot of time reflecting on Senator Franken's behavior. Enough is enough. The women who have come forward are brave, and I believe them. While it's true that his behavior is not the same as the criminal conduct alleged against Roy Moore or Harvey Weinstein or President Trump, it is still unquestionably wrong and should not be tolerated by those of us who are privileged to work in public service. So, great. I think that's great. Great statement. But why did you take this long? Why? Like, I get it. More people have come out since then. I think now there's 7 people that have come out against Al Franken saying this. But wasn't the second or third time good enough? So, I mean, I don't want to hit the Democrats too hard for this because they are doing the right thing. By the way, I'll read your comments in a minute. There's a lot of them popping up right now. If you want your question to be answered, if you have one, super chat, because that one will come to the top and I will notice that right away. But what was I saying? So yeah, so it was just weird to me that today was the day when they all came out. And I think to me, it's sort of clear, though maybe I'm wrong, but the way I see it is because Roy Moore is not stepping out of the race and the GOP are now even giving Roy Moore money in his race against Doug Jones, I guess the Democrats want to make it seem like, or show that they are different. And even though Al Franken, what he did is anywhere near what Roy Moore did, that the Democrats still want to show that they have solidarity with these victims of sexual harassment and just sexual misconduct. So they've come out strongly against Al Franken, or for Al Franken to resign. But I mean, here's the issue. there is no morality within the GOP. Now, I'm not saying what the Democrats are doing is wrong. I absolutely think Al Franken should resign. I'm glad they finally come out and said it. But this clearly comes off to me as some type of strategy. And the GOP is not going to react to this. They don't care. They don't care. And not even do the politicians not care, the voters don't care. People, these Alabama voters, or just a lot of these conservative voters in general, they don't believe the news. They think it's completely made up. Now, I think people are not great at explaining what exactly is wrong with mainstream media. So, places like CNN, MSNBC, they don't really lie. They're not fake news. What they do is they present a perspective that doesn't really benefit the vast majority of people. So when they come out and they say statements of things that actually happened, things Trump actually said, accusers of Roy Moore of things that actually happened, when they say those things, they're telling the truth. Those are all facts. But what they don't do is they don't fight for the people that don't have any power. Like the people on MSNBC, practically all the anchors on that network, I can't even think of one now that Sam Cedar is gone, or any contributor to the network that actually represents progressives. All those anchors do on MSNBC is they represent the establishment bias, the establishment view of politics and where policy should be in the country. So they're not necessarily fake news. What they are is they have their own bias, but they don't really voice it or really tell you that they have a bias. And a lot of it is because they don't even recognize that they have a bias. When you're in an office and you're talking to people who all think like you, who all make around the same money as you do, you don't realize how out of touch you are. And that goes for everything. I mean, I'm out of touch with people who are rich and people who are poorer than me. So, but the difference is I recognize that. I'm aware that I'm out of touch with certain types of people, certain classes that aren't in my class because I grew up with a certain perspective. But the way these anchors tell the news, they don't present that bias. They don't tell you, hey, I make millions of dollars, so my experience may not be the same as your experience. So I just went off on a complete tangent on media here that I did not want to talk about. But I mean, it all comes back to the media, the media, the pattern of behavior that the media has shown has turned a lot of people off and made a lot of people think that it's just fake news and they can't believe anything they hear. So, or anything that they don't agree with, which is disturbing. This is one of those things where I don't know what the solution is. I don't know how to tell people that, no, CNN is not lying to you. Because what proof do I have? I don't work for CNN. I don't work for MSNBC. And even if I did, that'd be even worse because it shows that I work for them. So yeah, of course I'd be lying for them. So you're stuck in this never-ending battle of how do you tell people what reality is when they don't want to believe it. There are people out there that think the earth is flat because they, for their own eyes, have not been out in space and seen the round earth. So they think it's flat because, well, all those images could be doctored. You never know. It's all just fake. So like, at what point, what reality are you living in? How is anything real? It's nuts. It's nuts. And I wish I had a solution for that. I do. Kind of. Can I promote psychedelics on my live stream? I don't know if I could do that. But that's the solution. I think that's a possible solution because mushrooms, LSD, these other psychedelics, they open your mind. They make you see outside yourself. They make you see a perspective. Yeah, MDMA. I just saw someone say that. Good, exactly. They make you see things in a perspective that you haven't seen before. And very few other things can really make you do that. And the very special thing about psychedelics is that it's a personal experience. You have your own experience with the substance. So it's not someone telling you what's happening, it's you actually experiencing it. And you actually seeing outside yourself and understanding, oh my God, I've been a dick this whole time. Or whatever, whatever issue you have. So that's a possible solution. I should say, I went to Peru and had an ayahuasca experience, so I've had some experience with psychedelics, with powerful psychedelics. So I understand the power that they have. And just to give you a very quick rundown, if you want to look up on my personal YouTube page, youtube.com/David Dole, I think I have that URL. I have like a 40-minute video that I shot now 2 years ago or 2 or 3 years ago, talking about my experience with ayahuasca and how it helped me in many ways. And one of the big factors is that opens your mind, well, apart from opening your mind, it can completely rid you of depression and anxiety. And I had some serious depression before I went down to Peru for ayahuasca. And when I got back, it was gone. I had that depression forever. And in a matter of a week, it was gone. So it's real. It works, and it can work for a number of things. But what was I talking about? Back to Al Franken. Somehow we got to ayahuasca. Oh yeah, so Bernie Sanders also came out and said that Al Franken should resign. So did Elizabeth Warren. I think it's 25 Democratic senators now. Last I checked, that's what The Intercept had reported. It's likely more at this point. So, he's going to resign. It's going to happen tomorrow. He's going to have a press conference. So, I mean, that's also part of the reason why they all came out here at once, is because they all know he's going to resign tomorrow. So they all just fell in line and were like, yes, Al Franken should resign. So they could all get the brownie points before he actually does resign tomorrow. So I feel like Al Franken was likely in on that. That's how they knew. So I guess good on Al Franken for helping his fellow Democratic senators. I don't know. But yeah, it should have happened a while ago. It's finally happening. Don't let that take your mind off the actual real criminals, or I should say the people that are much, much worse than Al Franken, like Roy Moore, who is just a garbage human being. And I can't believe the GOP are still backing him. I mean, I believe it, but I can't believe it because you can't get any lower. You really can't. Roy Moore is a pedophile. How? I mean, I guess you could, somebody who was a pedophile and a murderer, maybe that's worse if they support a guy like that, which I wouldn't put past them for them supporting either. So there is just no end to this. And if Roy Moore wins, oh my God, what will happen? What will happen? Are they going to seat him? So I guess they are. I mean, Donald Trump's supporting him, so whatever. It's over. He's probably going to win because this world is crazy. All right, that's enough Al Franken. Let's move on to the next topic I wanted to talk about, which was, after I finish this next topic, I'm going to get to some questions, if I can scroll through them or whatever pops up. I don't know. You kind of got to be lucky if you're not engaging in the super chat, and if you have already, then I don't see it, for me to be able to know what questions to ask. But all right, let's get to Joycott. So, Joycott. I tweeted about my thoughts about it this morning, that I am not really on board. So I've come out, if you know my videos, I've come out strongly against Joy in many cases, but I like to think that I'm pretty fair. I constantly remind people, to a lot of the angry commenters, that Joy is good at some things. She is one of the rare people on television that takes down Republicans in a forceful way. Now, I don't know if that's more of a compliment of Joy or more of a criticism of how much of a wasteland mainstream media is. But it's the reality. Joy is one of the few people who is strong against conservatives. Now, that doesn't take away from the fact that she is just absolutely terrible when it comes to introspection on the Democratic Party. There is just no introspection there. So, that said, this Charlie Crist thing, these old blogs about her calling Charlie Crist Miss Charlie or Miss Charlie. Look, they were stupid blogs, but so many people, a lot of commentators have said there are a lot of closeted Republicans who make anti-gay votes in the Senate or in Congress. So this is not really new behavior. The problem with how Joy approached it was she kept pushing on the Miss it was either Miss Chris or Miss Charlie, I don't know. But she kept pushing that point and was even going as far as to say he was oogling the men on the beach and stuff, and he just getting really personal with that. And yeah, all that stuff was bad. That said, the real reason to get rid of Joy Reid is not because of that. It's because of her history of just smearing progressives. That is what I'm against. I'm against hate speech as well, but I wouldn't even really call it hate speech. The way it came off to me is she was trying to be funny, and these jokes weren't landing because she was being homophobic. But it's the kind of thing where I could see somebody making a mistake, apologizing for it, and moving forward. It's not something to boycott somebody over. If you want to boycott Joy, do it for legitimate reasons. Do it because she is not a great journalist. Now, where was I going with this? So I tweeted out my thoughts this morning. This is what I tweeted. Wait, no, I don't have my tweet. Let me pull it up. The beauty of live video. All right, so this is what I said. I said, I don't think Joycott is worth it. Joy's more destructive on Twitter than she is on her show, which mainly focuses on Republicans, and cable news is dying anyways. Getting her fired, which, by the way, MSNBC will never do, would just elevate her and neoliberal defenders. So that kind of sums up what I think. Even if Joy got fired somehow, okay, so let me try to clear the air and try to really understand this Joycott. So part of this Joycott is boycotting advertisers that advertise with or on Joy Reid's show. But then the other part of it is they're also trying to get her fired from MSNBC. So if you want to boycott advertisers because you don't like Joy Reid, whatever, go at it. But if you think that she should be fired and that's your ultimate goal, I don't agree with that. Because it will absolutely help her. It will raise her voice. Just look what happened with Sam Seder. And by the way, I agree. I like Sam Seder. I think it was dumb that MSNBC fired him. But if you're someone who doesn't like Sam Seder, if you're one of those alt-righters, if you're Cernovich and you wanted this to happen, it's kind of blowing up in your face, isn't it? Because Sam Seder is now gaining a ton more subscribers, getting a lot more money. There's a GoFundMe out there. It's getting more donations to his Patreon and to his actual subscriber base on Majority FM. So he's benefiting in a way off of getting fired from MSNBC. The exact same thing would happen with Joy Reid. If Joy Reid got fired, it would be hell for for progressives, because it would seem like we were all trying to push this. The Bernie wing was trying to get Joy Reid fired, and look what they did. And it's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's not beneficial for anybody. It's not, and I don't think it's, and even apart from that, I don't think Joy should really be fired for those blog posts. And look, whatever. This is what MSNBC is. Joy Reid, whether you want to admit it or not, is one of the better people on MSNBC. But the problem is, on Twitter, she's terrible. On Twitter is where she does a lot of her damage against the progressive base. But on her show, it's mainly about Republicans. And it's mainly about hitting conservatives. It's not really that big of a deal. And her work there is good work. So the reason why people don't like Joy Reid is because unlike people like Rachel Maddow or Chris Hayes, Joy Reid actually targets progressives and Bernie Sanders and smears them. And that is what irks people. And it's legitimate criticism. She should be criticized for it. Should she be fired for it? That's not my decision. Sure, whatever. It doesn't affect me either way because I don't really care. I really just watch MSNBC for content to use on my channel. I do watch Morning Joe. I gotta say, I'm not proud of it, but I watched it because oftentimes Morning Joe sort of sets the big news items for all the mainstream press for the day. So it gives you an idea of what's going to be talked about. And occasionally, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski will say things that aren't completely dumb. And they have come out many times in defense of Bernie Sanders and progressives. So I really, in a weird way, it feels like Joe and Mika have sort of this autonomy that other anchors on the network don't have. If you watch Morning Joe, they really have the freedom to kind of say whatever they want. Whereas everybody else is reading off a prompter. The Morning Joe hosts aren't. So that really allows that sort of discussion to take place where they are actually voicing their real thoughts on issues and not just reading off a teleprompter that was pre-approved by their producer. So back to my tweet. After I tweeted that, I got retweeted or quote tweeted by someone I've kind of seen before, but I honestly don't know who it is. But she goes by the name Angry Black Lady. No comment. I don't know. I don't know if this is a real person, but she has a check mark, so I assume it's a real person. But she quote tweeted me and said, "At least you're honest enough to admit. At least you're honest enough to admit it's about Bernie and not really about her decade-old blog posts at all." Yeah. So this tweet. The reason I'm reading this tweet is because this person has like 100,000 followers, and after she tweeted me, my mentions were inundated with hillbots, and I mean that like literally. They had to be bots. The comments I got and the immediate, like, there are people replying to me with hate, and then their tweet would get like 10 likes in 5 seconds. Like, what is going on? This doesn't make any sense. And it's because these aren't real people. I'm sure some of them get caught up in this mess and think that they're having conversations with people who have honest opinions. But these are a lot of just paid tweeters. People that get paid to sow divisions within the left. And they're really good at it because a lot of people would not react kindly to a lot of the things that were said to me. This is my favorite one here. So I just tweeted about this one recently. So Ohio Citizen, who I swear I've seen before on Twitter because they do a lot of this just hating on people, tweeted this to me. "David, here's the deal. Fuck you. Fuck Bernie. Fuck off. We don't need or want you in our party. Go away." When I read that, I was literally laughing out loud. It's hilarious. This is... I hope people, when they get tweeted by someone like this, don't react in anger back. This is clearly meant to try and rile you up. This is hilarious. This is ridiculous. No, there's no content to work with here. David, fuck you. All right. So I replied to the tweet with K. That's all I said. I just put the letter K because I wanted to reply, because I wanted to acknowledge that I saw them, but I wasn't angry. So just K. And if you just do that, they have nowhere to go. And the other thing that I tweeted, or I got tweeted about a lot, was because I don't like Joy Reid, I hate black women. I'm a black woman hater. Don't like Joy Reid, you hate all black women. That's how it goes. So to a lot of those people, I tweeted them my most viewed video. Do you know what it is? It's on Nina Turner. I'm showering love on Nina Turner in my most viewed video. And so I tweeted that to a few of them, being like, all right, I like Nina Turner, so, I mean, does she count? Guess what the response was? Silence. They didn't reply. I think one person did reply and was like, oh yeah, one person did reply and was like, well, name 2 more black women. I'm like, all right. So I named like 5 more, and then they didn't reply again. So this stuff is funny to me. This is funny to me because these are people, these aren't real people. There is no movement here. What the basis of their arguments are: you're a racist, you're a sexist, and I mean, that's literally it. Do you ever see these people talk about policy? What policies they want? That's never brought up. These aren't real people. And by the way, I have a few commenters like that too. And I'm not even going to name you because you may even be watching this video right now, who are just, they post messages and they tweet things just to start shit, just to see reactions. Don't give them reactions. Don't get into these discussions. It's not worth it because they're paid to do this. They're paid to just create these arguments. And you know what? It's probably a really fun job. If you just ignore the part that you're completely destroying the country, if you just ignore that for a second and just think about the job of getting people angry, it's probably really fun. I'm sure it's great to just piss people off all day. I mean, I wouldn't enjoy it, but there are people out there that I could see enjoying doing that. And what time is it? 5:48. And I don't really enjoy doing that, but I don't know. So yeah, just, I guess, back to Joy for a second. Joycott, whatever. I'm not into it. It's not my thing. I'm not into these hashtag movements, really. I'm into reality. I'm into facts. I'm into integrity. I'm into policy. That's what I base my stuff on. If you are someone with integrity, who's genuine about supporting policy that helps people, and I agree with you on those policy positions, or even just agree with the sentiment of, yes, I want to help people, then I'm with you. It's that simple. But if you are trying to smear individuals, then I'm not with you. It's just, I don't see how it benefits anybody. All right, you know what? Let's take some questions. This is just a mess right now. All right. I'm looking at questions with question marks. David, you rock. Dave Dole, you rock. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you think that. How old are you? You know what? I want to keep that one a secret. How old do you think I am? Because, yeah, you know what? Let's keep that a secret. You can probably find out. 28, 24, I like this. I like this a lot. 28, 26, 23. Got to go higher. One of you got close. But, nah, you know what? Let's not go there. Who are you in favor for California Senate? Allison Hartson or David Hildebrand? So, Allison Hartson or David Hildebrand? I'm going to say, so I haven't done a lot of thinking on this, obviously, since I'm answering this on the spot, but I'm going to say Allison Harston, and it's simply because they both have very similar platforms. But the reason why I think you may disagree with me, but I think having a female or a woman go up against Feinstein is beneficial strategically. Now, you may also think it's great just in terms of, you know, having proper representation. But even apart from that, if you just want to win the seat, this is not really a time when you have better options. If you can strategically go for somebody that is a person of color or a woman, then it's beneficial strategically. You may disagree with me. You may think we shouldn't be playing this game of identity politics, but this is not identity politics. We're talking about the people who have the same policies, who represent the same thing, the same ideas, who both have integrity, who are both genuine people. If you're all the same, but one's a woman or one's a person of color, I'm going to go with the person of color or the woman. That's just how it goes. I think it's a smart move for representation purposes, and it's a smart move strategically. Oh my God, people still guessing my age. Okay, honestly, I forgot how old I am. 32. I'm 32. There you go. No more guesses. Who else is... Or what are the questions here? You know what's funny? I thought you were all still guessing, but I was up at the top of the questions, so you weren't still guessing. I just gave it away. All right. Where did you get that shirt? This was a few years ago. I don't even remember anymore. I don't know. Maybe H&M? Another question. Belly button, innie or outie? Innie. Are you single? No, I'm not single. How about more questions about politics? Enough about my looks. What did you do last summer? What did I do last summer? I don't know. Are you gay? No, I'm not gay. I'm sorry. That's one I wanted to keep secret for a while, and I'm not gay. But the reason why I apparently have a large gay audience. So if I kept that one secret, it may have helped me. But no, I'm not gay. Let's take a few more questions, hopefully political ones, and then I gotta go. But something else. Where am I here? YouTube has not laid this out. Like all the questions, just like they just scroll. I gotta find stuff. Some person's disappointed I'm not gay. I mean, yes, I am gay. No, I'm not gay. Universal basic income. Yes, universal basic income. That's the future. That's the future. It has to happen because everything is going towards automation. So when you start cutting away all these jobs, there just aren't enough jobs to replace them. And that's fine because there should be robots doing jobs that nobody would really enjoy. How many people really enjoy serving McDonald's food? How many people really enjoy putting things together in a warehouse? These are all things that can be done by robots. If a job can be done by a robot, then in my opinion, it's a monotonous job and it doesn't need to be done by a human. So you need universal basic income to help people who are left in the cold because of that movement towards automation. Now, there are right and wrong ways to implement it. Now, I'm not an expert on this, but there are a lot of libertarians who support universal basic income because in their minds, it's a way to eliminate all government programs. I'm not on board with that. Just because you have universal basic income, let's just call it UBI since it's a mouthful. Just because you have UBI doesn't mean that you should now just take away every government program and, or even take away healthcare because you now have money to do it. No, the universal basic income is supposed to take care of your basic needs, your home, your food. It doesn't mean you can now just be spending money like wild. People wouldn't be making a lot of money on universal basic income. It's enough money that you can live off of and not be homeless. And that then enables you to maybe start a business or maybe quit your job, take a risk, and change careers. So there are so many benefits to UBI that it's stupid that we're not doing it. And actually, Ontario now in Canada is beginning to implement, or they're doing a trial run of UBI to see how it works out. So there are a few select cities that are doing it. If you're in Ontario, look it up, because it may be something you want to check out and see if you could be a part of it. So there are a lot of these trials that have been rolled out, and they have been successful. So I think it's just a matter of time till we get there. More questions. Let's see who else we got here. Favorite music and artists. This from the Iconic Critic. Music and artists, totally a non-political question, but I like everything. I pretty much like every music except for like really heavy metal. But I'm so all over the place. I like Grimes. I like Drake. I like Eminem. There's a new band I just found recently, Dream Car. They kind of sound like they're like an 80s band, but current. I think it's the band that was from No Doubt plus the singer from AFI. I think that's what that band's made of. And it sounds like an 80s band, but current day, and that's pretty cool. That's a few examples. Someone's really happy I like Dream Car. Do you think a progressive can push through rigged Dem primary 2020? Yes. Yes, it can. Yes, that person can. And that's what's going to happen. It's going to be, if Bernie runs, it's going to be Bernie. If he doesn't run, then I don't know. I really, really hope Nina Turner runs. I feel like she won't run because she doesn't have a lot of experience. I mean, she has no experience in Congress. She's just been a state senator. But, man, I know this is so anecdotal, but the comments I've seen on my videos when I cover Nina Turner, everybody loves her. And I'm talking conservatives. There are people in my comments who are like, I'm a Trump voter and I would vote for this woman. No other video, no other politician that I do videos on are there comments like that. Just Nina Turner. So, and they're endless. If you go to my most watched video, which is on Nina Turner, it's like over 500,000 views. Look at the comments in those. There are a lot of people who self-describe as conservatives or rural white people or whatever, and they say, I would happily vote for Nina Turner. And that's because she actually cares about people. People can see that. Much like Bernie Sanders, we know he's genuine. Nina Turner is clearly genuine in what she cares about, in her platform. She's an amazing speaker. She really is. And I would love a Bernie Nina Turner ticket. Will it ever happen? It's unlikely, just because, you know what? I don't want to say unlikely. If they completely ignore what the media might think of it, the mainstream media, then it will totally happen. But if they're concerned about that, if they're concerned about people thinking, well, Nina Turner's never even been in Congress, she's just an activist, she's just president of our revolution, why should she be a VP? Then they'll capitulate to that crap. But if they're really honest about what they care about and the platform, then Bernie's campaign would be smart, and Bernie would be smart to bring her on in a major way. Now, let me take two more questions. Legalizing psychedelic medicine. Yeah, that's from Plastic Farm Music. Oh, are you the Plastic Farm music I bought? I think you might be. Check out Plastic Farm Music. Got some awesome music there. But yeah, legalizing psychedelics. Abso-friggin-lutely. It's just going to be a slow process. We will get there eventually, maybe in like 20 years, maybe 10 years, more like 20 years. But it's going to happen because, again, much like cannabis, the science is behind psychedelic medicines. Whether it's ayahuasca, MDMA, magic mushrooms, whatever the hell it is, these all have proven benefits. Benefits for people with PTSD, benefits for people with depression, anxiety, a whole slew of benefits that you can't ignore reality. At some point, reality wins. It's just politicians and the country have to catch up to where the science is, unfortunately. If we had scientists in seats, in positions of power in politics, it'd be a different story. But we don't. So it's harder to get, it's so hard to deprogram people who have already been programmed. I mean, whether it's your parents, my parents, these people have been brainwashed over the last 60 years of their lives to think about psychedelics as something that crazy hippies do and there's no benefits to it. They're not like me and you. They're not online reading into the subject matter. Now, I'm not being ageist here. I'm just saying that in general. Yes, there are a lot of older people who are into psychedelics and know a lot about it and have educated me on it. But if we're just talking about, you know, random Joe, who's a 65-year-old lady, or random Joe, 65-year-old man, they don't know. And it takes time to deprogram that. So, and personal experiences as well. So if you have your own personal experience, talk about it. Don't hide it. If you've used magic mushrooms and it opened you up in some way, you had some benefits from it, tell people about it. That's how you change the stigma. You can't just sit back and hope that the world's going to change without your help. You have to get involved and educate people on how you've been personally changed through the use of something like psychedelics. All right, one more question. One more question. My God, there's so many questions. I'll touch so I don't know too much about Kratom, but I know that they're trying to get rid of it. I think it's dumb that they're doing that. Just to do a quick tie up on drugs, I think all drugs should be decriminalized, and then we look into which ones can be legalized and regulated. But just, I mean, look at Portugal. There's a news story out in the Guardian, but there's tons of other stories about Portugal where they decriminalized all drugs in 2001, and everything improved. All the drug rates went down, the addiction rates went down, people stopped dying, because they, not only did they decriminalize drugs, they also changed the culture around it and put money into healthcare. So they made it that if you are a drug user, you are no longer sidelined, but you are actually looked at as someone who, if you have a negative relationship with drugs, you're looked at as someone who has an abusive relationship with drugs, and they treat you as such. They treat you as an actual person and not just a druggie. And it really changes the whole perspective, or it takes time to change that perspective for people, but when you see it actually get implemented in a place like Portugal, then you see how it actually works. All right, that's the last one, the question on the drug thing. One more question that is not dealing with drugs. Sorry, I just read a really funny comment that I will not say. Liberal, okay, let's end on Canada from MKJ100. Liberals versus NDP in representing progressives in Canada. Good question. That's a really good question. The answer is NDP. So there's no contest. But I mean, I guess it depends on your riding and the MP that is running in your riding. But if we're just talking about the platforms, the NDP is more progressive. The Liberal Party is like the Democratic Party. They're essentially neoliberals. And I mean, sure, they're good on some things. Trudeau is great on social issues. But if we're talking about economics and actually caring about the ones that need help the most, then NDP. That said, I ran as a Green Party MP, so I'm also kind of biased in terms of thinking, well, really the Green Party. But if we're talking, I guess, parties that could actually win seats, right now the Green Party can't, I mean, depending where you are, if you're in Vancouver, then yeah, the Green Party can pick up seats. Everywhere else, it doesn't seem like the Green Party is doing too much yet. It's just, again, it's part of this whole culture change. But yeah, NDP over Liberals, Green Party over everything if the Green Party is viable where you are. And that's it. All right. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. All right. Thanks for watching. If you dig this live stream, let me know on Twitter or comment after this video's up because I don't think these live comments show. So let me know if you like the show, and if there are more questions you want me to answer, put them in the comment section after this video is up past the live stream, and I can see them and I'll reply to them. All right. Thanks for watching. Once I can figure out how to say bye. How do I turn this thing off? All right. Bye.